Breaking. Congressional Democrats want Kamala Harris to wait until after the election to give her policy agenda. That sounds like a crazy thing, instead of really getting all the delegates behind the person because you believe in their policies and where they're going with it. No. First get the nomination and then tell us what you're going to do. Now, I don't want to see it in the comments of this video where you're like, that's so backwards. It's not backwards. You're just looking at the problem wrong. We're the ones who are wrong and they're the ones who are right. Please don't forget that. Obviously, I'm saying that a little bit of tongue in cheek, but there is something I want to bring up here because we have some new ideas, some indications of where the Harris campaign might be going if they are selected to be the next president. This is absolutely insane. The US government spending is expected to hit 24.2% of GDP in 2024, significantly above the previous 39-year average of 21.1. Now, we don't need to get into the nuances of what these numbers do or don't mean, but please understand that our debt is ripping higher. We're above 35 trillion. Our deficit is huge. It's around 2 trillion. And right now, you would say from a money perspective, that is not good. Of course, I understand that we're always in a forever expanding credit system, but what matters is the rate of that expansion and what we've all been battling with over the past couple of years, i.e. inflation, we've been expanding too rapidly. So clearly, just as basic as economics can possibly get, you want to slow that down. That is clearly a goal. So then the question is, will someone do it? It's leaving a little bit to be desired. This is Bill Ackman, the CEO and founder of Pershing Square. The Kamala Harris economic plan is to increase demand with subsidies and to reduce supply with price controls, and to do so in the first 100 days of her administration. Who is her economic advisor? Will he or she at least explain how this is supposed to work? So we covered this. The big announcements related to Harris and the economy is we're going to help out with kids, $6,000 of a tax credit per newborn. We're going to help out for first-time home buyers, $25,000 in terms of credit. And then the third one was just this generic, largely painted idea of price control. And she's accusing a lot of different people of price gouging, as if greed is a whole new thing in a capitalistic economy, as if we've never had it before. And when we're asking to point to examples of it, it's a little wishy-washy. So we're at this vague, high-level statement stage where people want answers and we're not quite getting it. The Biden-Kamala Harris administration charging station plan has delivered 7 out of 500,000 promised stations at a cost of $7.5 billion. If you're looking for a measurable thing of the current administration, which includes Kamala, and you're saying, okay, how has the financial promises really, matched up to the financial delivery? They promised 500,000 stations. We have 7. Those two numbers are very, very different. And those 7 on average have cost more than $1 billion. I'm not saying million, I'm saying $1 billion each. In 2021, the Biden-Harris set aside $65 billion in rural internet access when Starlink could do better job with minimal taxpayer funding. Now Kamala Harris promises to build 3 million housing units in 4 years. We're at this point of grandiose promises that a lot of people are saying, okay, that sounds good. And it stirs people up for a little bit of excitement. But then the question is, will it possibly ever be delivered upon? And with that, interesting clip being posted by PBS. The fact that they're posting and having this conversation, I like it. Maybe we're just going to get a little bit more truth in legacy media, but I do think it's interesting, and I want you guys to all give it a quick listen.
And David, on this matter of economic policy, the vice president is also proposing the first ever ban on price gouging for groceries. This is something I know you took particular issue with. It polls well with swing voters, but economists say the underlying reason...
Right there. He explained exactly why this is happening. It polls well with swing voters. You're just in this puppet show to get as many votes when really no economist worth their salt, no person who understands finance or business or an economy would ever agree that this is a smart way to handle it. And yes, we have historic examples of this price control on whatever, some form of price gouging when it comes to especially groceries. They're going to go through the examples here, but we have the answer. He just said it. Because it polls well. You say what you need to say just to get votes, and you don't even care if it's good, if it's bad, if it's even feasible. No, that's a whole secondary thing, and that's the current state of U.S. politics.
That's why prices are higher. It's a more complicated argument.
Yeah, I mean, she has some good policies in this package. I think the child tax credit is a good thing. She wants to deregulate housing so we can get more homes. But the price gouging is just, well, Catherine Rampell.
Before he gets into the aspect of price gouging, please understand this isn't some right-leaning MAGA extremist. This is a writer for the New York Times, a well-known left-leaning publication. This is David Brooks, who he's just talking about pure facts, just pure financial facts about the economy, where he's saying, hey, the child tax credit, which I alluded to before, solid. Okay, maybe when you want to help out first-time homeowners, maybe, interesting, let's talk about it. But it's this third part about the control of price gouging that, as you're about to hear, he does not agree with whatsoever, to the point of saying that her economic understanding of just how this all works is borderline illiterate.
Well, the Washington Post columnist and NewsHour contributor said it's impossible to exaggerate how bad this policy is. And I agree with that. And Catherine had a good line that if your opponent is calling you a communist, maybe don't lead with price controls. And so price controls just create shortages, that create black markets. We've seen it happen in Venezuela. We've seen it happen in the Soviet Union. Price controls just don't work. What's worse about that, first, it's trying to address a problem that does not exist. Grocery prices, inflation has been less than 1% for the past year. It's over. We had a surge, but it's over. The problem does not exist. But the real core problem is it expresses a level of economic illiteracy, which is kind of surprising in a responsible Democratic candidate. The idea behind greedflation is that we had all these years of low inflation under Obama and under Bush's, and I guess people weren't greedy then. And then Biden gets in, and suddenly, magically, they all get greedy and start price gouging. And they do it at Kroger's, at Harris Teeter, at H-E-B. Suddenly, there's this mass of price gouging, and she thinks she can prosecute it. That's not why inflation surged. Inflation surged because we had a pandemic, which screwed up supply chains and productivity. Then the Biden administration overstimulated the economy, too many dollars chasing too few goods. Obama administration officials Larry Summer and Jason Furman said at the time, this is going to cause inflation. Lo and behold, it did. The Fed has to clamp down on growth, raising everybody's interest payments. That's what causes inflation. That's solid, basic economics. Her greedflation plan is somewhere off, outside of normal economics.
What about that, Jonathan? That the
of course, this guy has
Harris
to defend
policy,
her
parts of it at
exclusively
least,
because of the color of
speak
his
to
skin.
an economic illiteracy.
Well, I mean, I take issue with the use of the word illiteracy, but we'll just have to agree to disagree on our word choices, David. But Catherine Rampell raises a very good point, and her column I found to be rather persuasive, and so now it's incumbent upon the vice president and her team to flesh this out a little bit more.
He's basically agreeing that Catherine, who wrote the op-ed, was saying, yeah, no, she brought up valid points about how this current economic plan is a little suspect. This is a reporter from the Washington Post who, for many, I guess, social reasons, is supposed to completely align with Kamala Harris and say everything she does is great. And then even he's like, oh, okay, maybe we shouldn't call her illiterate, but the rest of your point was pretty solid. So that just kind of shows, for those of you who maybe aren't like me, very, very interested in the exact nuances of these economic plans. In the most general sense, it's confusing a lot of people because it doesn't add up. Rising U.S. debt service will swamp defense spending. When you print $4 to $5 trillion, when you're paying hundreds of billions in just servicing debt and the deficit's getting larger, it means we're not trending in the right way. And it's also going to get particularly bad when we see unemployment continuing to go up. The labor market is finally starting to weaken. And when we see numbers like this, it's kind of tough to believe that we're already not in a recession. It is the numbers are just crazy. To show you how we could get here, I found this clip to better articulate where, if this is, as people are saying, like a communistic outlook on the economy. Now, is it full-blown communism? Obviously not, but there's some interesting tendencies to the particular plan that the Harris campaign is trying to push. Well, okay, is it in line with other ways in which she views the world? As you're about to hear, the answer is a resounding yes.
It has to be about a goal of saying everybody should end up in the same place. And since we didn't start in the same place, some folks might need more. Equitable distribution. Giving resources based on equity, understanding that we fight for equality, but we also need to fight for equity, understanding not everyone starts out at the same place. So there's a big difference between equality and equity. Equality suggests often everybody should get the same thing. Well, that often assumes everybody started out in the same place, as opposed to equity, which is everyone should end up in the same place. And if you then understand not everybody started out in the same place, you understand some people need more.
I'm not going to bore you with a whole extra minute of her exact same speaking points, but she is literally campaigning for equality of outcome. No person who is logical, moral, or really has functioning neurons would ever argue for equality of outcome. We should all have equality of opportunity, of course. It shouldn't matter your gender, your religion, your creed, anything. We should all have equality of opportunity, but different people are gonna take different advantages of different opportunities. There is no way we should normalize outcome. That is some hardcore communistic stuff, socialist stuff, equality of outcome. And we've tested this as a species historically, and it ends horribly with millions of dead bodies behind it every single time. So her view on society is obviously very similar to her view specifically on the economy of everything's hunky-dory, it's all rosy, equality of outcome. It is a scary, scary thing. With that being said, we're actually seeing Harris drop in the betting markets. Right now, as of this morning, Trump and Harris are tied at 49-49, which you might find to be surprising. But let me remind you, a couple days ago on August 15th, it was actually Harris leading by 10 points. So now that this news is I guess becoming a little bit more public, we're actually seeing a clear shift in the betting markets of what it does or doesn't mean. I still find the betting markets to be a bit interesting because this is from CBS. Once again, I'm trying to find different polls, different information to not have a particular bias source. I think the more data, the more information, the better. As of now, three of the major things that get people to vote: the economy, inflation, US-Mexico border. Well, as you're gonna see, Donald Trump currently is leading in the economy, inflation, and the US-Mexico border. And to drive it, I guess, home from a social standpoint, not just those polling numbers and everything, this is a recent little video that Don Lemon was able to find, I believe in New Jersey, Atlantic City, where he was asking people, as you're gonna notice, of the same skin color, who they're gonna vote for. And as you could tell, he was a bit surprised.
Trump or Harris?
Trump.
That's who's gonna win.
That's who's going to win.
Who you support?
I support Trump. All the people that came to this country legally, it's not fair that they're letting all 10,000 to 15,000 people or 20,000 people here illegally. Have you seen San Diego? Yeah. They're coming off the boats, off the water right here, off the ocean. Did you know Biden was flying them in?
Money's on Harris.
Yeah.
Who do you want?
Trump.
We're in a gambling town. Who's your money on?
I'm going to support the Democratic Party, but I mean, Trump looked like he got it in the bag right now.
4 years ago, it was a lot better. I made a lot more money than I do now.
I know you feel that way, but that's not actually what the record shows. The economy is actually better under Biden. No, I'm serious. That's what the facts show.
Okay, you know what?
No, that's not because I watch CNN.
Good. Life was good.
But you know the economy's better under Biden than Trump.
Where's he coming up with this? What measurement is he getting that the economy's better?
Well, you know what? I don't know where they're getting their facts, but I don't think they're valid. I don't know where their facts are coming from.
Just to put a pin in this, on Wednesday, the Bureau of Labor Statistics will downward revise jobs for the April 2023 to March 2024 period by up to 1 million. This means that all beats recorded in the past year have all been misses, and the US job market is far worse shape than the administration would admit. Inflation data is fake. GDP data is fake. Jobs data is fake. The party told you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears. It will be their final, most essential command. George Orwell, 1984. The numbers we're getting, whatever these measures of the economy are, they're not even good. And now that we're finding out they're being lied about to the upside to make it seem like not as bad actually is. How insane is that this is the current situation we're living in? This is our current chapter of reality. And I guess most people are going around in the world saying, yeah, it's fine. Like, don't worry about it at all. I mean, this is from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Like, they're like, yeah, no, everything we're telling you is a little bit of a lie. Anyway, it'll be an absolute show to see how this all plays out.